the liquid is striking. This is the tip at which the liquid is striking. After striking here, the liquid jet flows, glides over the surface of the vane. Provided that there are no shock losses and there are no frictional losses, the liquid jet leaves at the outlet tip with the same relative velocity Vr at this point. It should move, it should leave at the outlet tip with the same relative velocity with which it got entered here. But if you consider the losses also, it cannot be same. So the relative velocity at the outlet tip cannot be same. It will be slightly less than the relative velocity at the inlet. So let it be represented by Vr, relative velocity suffix 1. So here the suffix 1 represents that the parameter at the outlet. So this is the outlet tip. At this outlet tip, Vr1 is now represented here as the relative velocity at the outlet tip, which is represented both in magnitude and direction. Just go back to the figure, indicating that after striking here, the vane is moving in the x direction. The moment I say vane is moving, the center of the vane, the inlet tip of the vane, the outlet tip of the vane, everything is moving. It is not only one part of the vane which is moving. The vane is solid, entire vane is moving in the x direction with a velocity small u. That means either inlet tip or center or outlet tip of the vane, everything is moving with the same velocity u along the x direction. So from this point, now represent the velocity of the vane u, both in magnitude and direction. Then the line joining these 2 points gives you the absolute velocity v1. You can see here the inlet velocity diagram where you have the absolute velocity of the liquid jet, velocity of the vane, line joining the points is the relative velocity, and you have two components for the absolute velocity v along the direction of motion of the vane Vw, normal to the direction of motion of the vane Vf. In the similar lines, at outlet tip, the liquid jet leaves with a velocity Vr1. Why I say Vr1 is that this Vr1 is taking care of all the losses also. So this Vr1 may be less than Vr, represented both in magnitude and direction. Then if u is represented by both in magnitude and direction by in this same direction, then the line joining these 2 points gives you the absolute velocity v1. This absolute velocity v1 also, once again, have two components. One along the direction of motion of the vane and the other normal to the direction of the vane. So Vw1, Vf1. 2 points I would like to tell you at this juncture. All the velocities which are represented at outlet are given with a suffix 1. So the numerical value of Vw will not be equal to the numerical value of Vw1. That is different. This is different. This is one point that you need to observe. Second point is, for u, the velocity of the vane, we are not given any suffix 1. Have you observed that? We are not given any suffix 1 for u. The reason is you have considered a single vane which is moving. Because the liquid jet is striking here, the vane is moving with a velocity u along x direction, which means that the entire vane is moving, but it is not a part of a vane. So when the vane is moving here, either inlet tip or center or outlet, the entire vane is moving with the same velocity u along x direction, with the same velocity u, and hence either at the inlet velocity diagram or at the outlet velocity diagram, the velocity magnitude is not changed. So that is why u1 is not written here. It is u only. Even if I say u1, I should say u1 must be equal to u in this case. Followed. Then the angle between the relative velocity Vr1 and u is phi, and the angle between v1 and u is beta. You can see here the value of beta is obtuse angle. You may have the case where beta would be equal to exactly 90 degrees also. You may have the case where the beta value would be exactly 90 degrees also. Okay. So you have different cases, but the case that we have taken is beta greater than 90 degrees. So the inlet velocity diagram with V, U, Vr, Vw and Vf, and A, B, C are the points and alpha, theta are the angles here. Okay, as the angles here. Similarly, the outlet velocity diagram also, as we have seen. Okay, so in that figure, if you observe AB, which is the absolute velocity both in magnitude and direction, AC, the velocity of the vane both in magnitude and direction, then the line joining these 2 points CB gives you the relative velocity VR. Relative velocity VR. So the triangle ABC is called the velocity triangle or velocity diagram at inlet tip. Velocity triangle or velocity diagram at inlet tip, in which the absolute velocity of the jet is capital V and the velocity of the vane is small u, and the relative velocity is VR. Since the jet is assumed to impinge on the vane tangentially, there is no loss of energy due to impact. Impact loss may be minimized by allowing the liquid jet striking tangentially at the tip. Tangentially at the tip, the velocity, the thrust loss can be minimized. The absolute velocity at the jet at entrance or inlet may be resolved into 2 components, one parallel and the other perpendicular to the direction of motion of the vane. That means along the direction of the motion of the vane, or normal to the direction of motion of the vane. Accordingly, you have 2 components, VW and VF. So the component of the velocity V along the direction of motion of the vane is called the will velocity VW, and the component of the velocity V normal to the direction of motion of the vane is called the flow velocity or flow component of velocity VF. Alpha, the included angle between V and U, and theta, the included angle between VR and U. Let VR be the relative velocity, and it is the velocity with which the jet actually enters the vane. VR is the relative velocity, and it is the velocity with which the liquid jet actually enters the vane at its inlet tip, and its magnitude may be found by subtracting the vectors V and U. The difference of the vectors V and U gives you the relative velocity VR. Since V and U are in different directions, the velocity diagram may be drawn for V and U, representing them both in magnitude and direction. Same velocity diagram I have been using in different slides to give you a clear understanding at different points. AB represents the absolute velocity both in magnitude and direction. AC represents the velocity of the vane both in magnitude and direction. And then the line joining the point CB gives you the relative velocity, and this is VW and this is VF. After striking, the liquid jet glides over the surface of the vane and leaves at its outlet tip. So the relative velocity of the vane at the outlet tip may be designated as VR1. This VR1 would be equal to VR, since there is no loss of energy. Provided that there is no loss of energy, you may take VR1 would be equal to VR. However, if there is loss of energy which cannot be neglected, then VR1 should be considered, which may be less than the relative velocity VR. Which may be less than the relative velocity VR. So VR can always be expressed as K into VR1 always can be expressed as K into VR, where K is a factor to account for the losses. To account for the losses. If I say 10% losses are there, what would be the value of K? 10% losses are there. Then what would be the value of K? K would be equal to 1 minus 10 by 100, 0.9. Okay. So VR1 represents the relative velocity at the outlet tip. The vane moves with the same velocity U both at inlet and at outlet also. So if U is represented both in magnitude and direction, then the line joining the point gives you the absolute velocity V1 at outlet. So from the outlet velocity diagram, the components of the absolute velocity V1 may be one along the direction of motion of the vane VW, and the other normal to the direction of motion of the vane VF can be computed. The velocity, flow velocity, and beta and phi, as we have shown in the figure, are the included angles. So this is the outlet velocity diagram. So while understanding about the outlet velocity diagram, 3 cases are possible for the outlet velocity diagram. 3 cases are possible. So if you see here, what is phi? Phi is the included angle between VR1 and U. Depending on the magnitudes of the velocities, the value of beta, which is represented here both in magnitude and direction, may be different. It may be less than 90 degrees. It may be equal to exactly 90 degrees, or it may be greater than 90 degrees also. The included angle beta may have 3 possibilities here. VR1, both in magnitude and direction. U, both in magnitude and direction. Then the line joining the points, these 2 points gives you the absolute velocity. So when you are attempting to join these 2 points, suppose if VU, the velocity of the vane, may not be ending here. the velocity of the vane is ending directly here. What will happen? The value of beta will be exactly 90 degrees. So your three cases possible for the value of beta greater than 90 degrees, which is known as the obtuse angle, and the other case is beta will be exactly 90 degrees. So what we are doing here, VR1 both in magnitude and direction, U both in magnitude and direction, then the line joining these 2 points gives you exactly a right angle triangle, which indicates that the value of beta is 90 degrees right angle. So this is also another variety of the outlet velocity diagram. So what is the difference between the previous one and this one? In the previous case, when VR1 and U are represented both in magnitude and direction, then the line joining the points gives you an evolution of a triangle where the value of beta is more than 90 degrees. So you have V1, the components like VW1 and VF1. But in the next case, where the value of beta is exactly 90 degrees, so VR1 represented both in magnitude and direction, U also is represented both in magnitude and direction, then line joining these 2 points gives you the absolute velocity. Even since beta is 90 degrees, what would be the value of VF1? VF1 should be equal to V1 sine 90. Then V1 sine 90, you will be getting VF1. Similarly, if you take VW1, it becomes 0. So VW1 would not be there for the outlet velocity diagram with beta being equal to 90 degrees. The third case is the value of beta may be obtuse angle also. How do you construct this obtuse angle? Velocity diagram. Now you are represented VR1 both in magnitude and direction. After representing the VR1 value, U is represented both in magnitude and direction. It is the velocity of the vane along x direction, along the horizontal direction. So U is represented both in magnitude and direction. Then, if we, as per the theory, what is that? The line joining these 2 points gives you the absolute velocity. So this is the point, and this is the point. If you join these two, you are getting the absolute velocity, in which case the value of beta is less than 90 degrees, acute angle. So this V1 may have two components, VW1 and VF1, along the direction of vane, normal to the direction of vane. So only difference is, in this case, the value of VW1 is also in this direction, okay. But here VW1 is 0. And in this case, VW1, what is the direction now? Based on the velocity triangles, the direction of VW1 will be opposing the motion of the vane. So you have three cases where VW1 may be opposite to the vane velocity, VW1 may be equal to 0, or VW1 may be along the direction of the motion of the vane, depending on the value of beta being like greater than 90 degrees, less than 90 degrees, or equal to 90 degrees. Some of the textbooks, to avoid any confusion, I would like to know, some of the textbooks don't take this value as beta. They may take this included angle as beta. Accordingly, obtuse and acute angles would be reversed. So please note that point also, because you may be referring several textbooks, but you should not get confused with all these three. Here, how is this possible? This is possible when you have the velocity of the vane being very high. The velocity of the vane, small u, is very high. So you are represented both in magnitude and direction. It did not end here. It did not even end here. It has come up to this point. So u is very high. What is u? It is the velocity of the vane, tangential component, tangential velocity of the vane. Maybe if the vane is fixed over the periphery of a wheel, the speed of the wheel is so high, pi d/n by 60. If this is the diameter and n is the speed, if the speed of this wheel is so high, u, pi d/n by 60 will be very high, in which case you may be getting this beta being less than 90 degrees case. So your three types of velocity. This is not there for inlet velocity diagram. Conveniently, inlet velocity diagram is only one. As you can represent both in magnitude and direction, you will get only one variety. But for the outlet velocity diagram, depending on the value of beta being greater than 90 degrees or equal to 90 degrees or less than 90 degrees, the direction of the wheel component of velocity VW1 changes. This is the observation that we have made. Okay, so this is the inlet velocity diagram, and this is the outlet velocity diagram. For different values of beta, this will be expanded. How do you compute the force exerted? Simply once again, go back to our original formula. The force exerted would be equal to mass rate into change of volume. So how do you get the mass rate of fluid? So mass rate of fluid striking would be equal to mass density into volume rate of flow, discharge. Volume rate of flow, discharge. So rho into mass density rho into volume rate of flow discharge Q. So rho Q is the mass rate of a fluid striking the vein or entering the vein. Then the force exerted along the flow direction. Please note, the force exerted along the flow direction, mass rate into change of velocity along the jet direction you need to take. So mass rate into change of velocity, VW, and VW1 in the opposite direction. See here, VW in this direction and VW1, yeah, VW in this direction, sorry, yeah, VW1 is in the opposite direction for the value of beta being greater than 90 degrees. So rho Q mass rate into change of velocity along the z direction. You have VW minus VW1, tangential components of the absolute velocity, which is the velocity of VW minus VW1. So force exerted, the work done per second will be force into distance mode. So what is that we have taken now? The distance mode is the velocity of the vein. So rho Q into VW minus VW1 into U, or rho Q mass rate of flow may also be represented as W by G, weight rate of flow by G would give you mass rate of flow, because weight by W by G will be mass density. W is equal to rho into G. Okay, so for beta less than 90 degrees, for beta greater than 90 degrees, for beta equal to 90 degrees, the directions and magnitudes of the VW1 are changing. You need to have a three different expressions for the work done. The work done per second for beta less than 90 degrees would be VW1 is in the same direction as that of U. And for beta greater than 90 degrees, case 1 where you have seen a huge angle, VW1 is opposing. So minus of minus VW1 becomes plus VW1. So W by G into VW plus VW1 into U, the distance moved by the vein per second. Then for beta equal to 90 degrees, there is no VW1. VW1 is 0 as per the velocity diagram. And hence you have W by G into VW into U. So for these three cases, you have computed the work done per second. Please note here, rho Q, rho mass density, into Q is the volume rate of discharge. So rho into Q represents the mass rate of a flow. W by G also represents the mass rate of flow, where W is the weight rate of flow divided by acceleration due to gravity. Weight rate of flow divided by acceleration due to gravity. So you have three different cases like VW minus VW1, VW plus VW1, and VW and plus or minus 0 there. So in the generic form, you have the work done per second would be W by G into VW plus or minus VW1 into U. So this plus sign when the value of beta being acute, and minus n when the value of beta being acute, and VW1 being equal to 0 when the value of beta equal to 90 degrees. So the work done per second is also equal to the change in the kinetic energy of the liquid. Work done per second also would be equal to the change in the kinetic energy of the liquid. So half of m is square, kinetic energy half of m is square. So work done per second will be change in kinetic energy per second. So change in kinetic energy would be kinetic energy at inlet minus kinetic energy at outlet. So half of mv square, m is mass rate, half of W by G into V square minus half of W by G into V1 square. What is V1? The absolute velocity at the outlet. So half of W by G into V square minus V1 square. This work done per second can also be expressed in terms of the absolute velocities at inlet and outlet. So the efficiency of the jet would be work done per second divided by the kinetic energy supplied per second. So eta would be equal to W by G into VW plus or minus VW1 divided by the kinetic energy supplied half of W by G into V square, half mv square per second, half mv square per second. So half of W by G, half of W by G gets cancelled, and you have V square minus V1 square divided by V square would be the efficiency of the jet. But the conclusion for the entire thing is that you are taking a single moving unsymmetrical curved vein. So the curved vein is unsymmetrical and it is single. So when the liquid jet is striking here, the vein is moving. So after some time, the vein cannot be within the purview of this liquid jet. It cannot strike. So this case is also not a practical case, as the liquid jet can strike a single moving unsymmetrical curved vein at a given time. So the corresponding practical case may be that of a series of such veins which are fixed radially over the rim of a wheel. This is the more practical case. Instead of having a single unsymmetrical curved vein, you have a number of veins which are connected over the periphery of a wheel. That is the more practical case. This is what is called the flow over the radial vein. We see about this in the tomorrow's class. Thank you. I stop here at this point.